Well, and Matt, Bernie Sanders was saying to that effect that he kept saying she's so anxious for toppling regimes and regime change, and you really tried to pin her down on that.
He did. That came up 2 or 3 times, and I have to say I saw a real similarity between the Republican debate the other night and the Democratic debate. And obviously the races are different. Hillary Clinton is by far the front runner. On the Republican side, it's in flux. But what you have this similar dynamic where you have an establishment candidates who are much more hawkish, much more interested in regime change, maybe, or at least possibly. And then you have these populist candidates who are anti-establishment, who are running. Ted Cruz sounded sort of like Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton's almost like the Marco Rubio candidate. So it's interesting that this dynamic transcends the political parties. This is out there in the public right now, and this is a huge debate. In terms of national security, should we be supporting dictators and allowing them to stay in power, or should we try to topple them?
Well, there's a lot of talk about what happens when a vacuum arises. So many more topics to talk about with the panel, so please stick around. We'll have you for more conversation. Never thought I'd heard Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders compared. They're both senators, but you never know. All right, we've been talking all about the Democrats. Let's now take a minute to hear what the Republican presidential candidates have to say about a lot of these major issues, like terror, like immigration, the economy. Doug McKelway has more.
ISIS and concerns about national security dominate the GOP campaign trail and debates, and no one has stirred up more controversy on the issues than Donald Trump, who continues to defend his temporary ban on Muslims entering the country.
We're not talking about religion. We're talking about security.
And one by one, the others weigh in.
We need a president who understands the first obligation of the commander-in-chief is to keep America safe.
Right now, the United States of America is the patient, and the patient is in critical condition and will not be cured by political correctness and will not be cured by timidity.
We need a president who's going to understand what actionable intelligence looks like and act on it.
If you're an American citizen and you decide to join up with ISIS, we're not going to read you your Miranda rights.
To solve the problem, we need to do something here at home and something over there in their caliphate.
Ask yourself, which candidate will keep you and our country safer, stronger, and freer?
Meanwhile, the battle between Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz heats up. Rubio blasting Cruz for weakening national security surveillance programs.
I'm very proud to have joined with conservatives in both the Senate and the House to reform how we target bad guys.
There is nothing that we are allowed to do under this bill that we could not do before.
Another issue taking center stage, immigration.
People that have come into our country illegally, they have to go.
I personally am open to allowing people to apply for a green card.
In Nevada, Ted Cruz clarifies his position on immigration reform.
I oppose legalization for illegal aliens. I always have, and I always will.
The senator's words followed a special report interview earlier this week where he struggled to explain his 2013 amendment to the immigration reform bill. That amendment did not prevent legal status for illegal immigrants, but would have prevented a path to citizenship.
What it doesn't mean that I supported the other aspects of the bill, which was a terrible bill. And Brett, you've been around Washington long enough. You know how to defeat bad legislation, which is what that amendment did.
In Iowa, site of the caucuses just more than a month away, Rubio pushes back.
He strongly supported legalizing people that were in this country illegally.
And as shoppers wrap up their last days of Christmas shopping, GOP candidates stress their commitment to jobs, the economy, and the national debt.
To me, there is no greater threat than our debt.
This election is about electing a president that will restore our economic vibrancy.
Cutting taxes, cutting regulation, unleashing small businesses, and rebuilding the military to defeat radical Islamic terrorism. Our strategy is simple. We win, they lose. We've done it before, and we can do it again.
While national polls, including the latest Fox News poll, continue to show Donald Trump with a huge lead, keep in mind just how quickly that can change. There remain over a dozen candidates in the GOP field. Loyalties are diluted after the Iowa caucuses, the New Hampshire and South Carolina primaries, all in February. Weaker candidates will begin to drop out. Support will coalesce, and Trump may fall. Just ask Rudy Giuliani, who was a dominant frontrunner through 2007 until January of 2008, when he withdrew for lack of support. Shannon?
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Now let's take a closer look at one of the key issues in tonight's debate, national